Hello everyone, welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be looking into the next 2 weeks for you for energy insights and guidance, as well as a week-by-week energy forecast. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back my beautiful kindred spirits and anyone new who may be joining us here today, as there are a lot of new faces as we have just hit over 1,000 subscribers, which is super exciting as a content creator, but also just exciting to see a growing community of beautiful kindred spirits and others here who are joining us, whether you've been here from the very beginning to the very recent video that I put up. I'm very excited to have you here and excited that you want to learn more about your own self through tarot and charms. And as always, if you haven't already, do feel free to subscribe. But like I said, we're going to be going into the next 2 weeks for you and really sorting that out and seeing what's coming up for you. But I do want to mention that I actually haven't been on the channel in a while because I was actually on a trip for the last 3 weeks and I only just recently got back, and I actually filmed a lot of videos ahead of time, which is why it was really exciting to see the feedback and how much it was resonating and the different videos, because I was a little bit nervous to do a lot of ahead of time filming, because it's not just like any educational video that can be done at any time. It was, in real time, and I wanted to make sure it was as accurate as possible for you. So I hope I did succeed. I hope it was useful for you, but I should be more active on the channel and more active in the comments and more active in general here in the space now that I'm back. But I had such a wonderful time and am glad to be back. If you're interested in any of my offerings, those are also opening back up this week as well, for snail mail readings and any spell and ritual papers and other fun offerings that I'm hoping to cook up for you guys now that I'm back. But I just wanted to let you guys know that if I seemed a little bit less online, that would be why. But yeah, anyway, rambling aside, these might be, it's also been a little while since I've done this because I've been gone for so long, but I think I did pretty well with these. So let's go ahead and look at the piles here. Alright, so with each of the piles, because I just got back from this trip, I thought, why not use things I actually got on the trip, except for the last one. So this is actually a piece of turquoise for group number 1. So we have a piece of raw turquoise here. So this is pile number 1, if it resonates for you. For group number 2 here, we have this little Ammonite fossil with these rainbow sort of colors on the shell. So that is pile number 2. And here for pile number 3, we have this piece of Rutilated quartz, and it also has this very raw feeling to it with all of these different little broken pieces. So that is pile number 3. So before we start running off to the timestamps, I like to give you a moment and invite you in to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me, so we can really connect with our intuition and really take a moment to pause before jumping in. So let's go ahead and take a deep cleansing breath here together. And as always, there's no right or wrong way to choose your piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles, you can flip-flop between them, you can make up your own rules here. There really are none when it comes to this, so do feel free to use your own intuition. But all of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video. And like I mentioned, if I'm fumbly or weird within this reading, do give me a little bit of slack or a little bit of grace here, as it's been a little while. And I had such a wonderful time while I was gone, and thank you again for 1,000 subscribers, and to check out the offerings down below. I believe that is everything I wanted to say, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of raw turquoise, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading today, but we're going to be getting started here to look into your next 2 weeks. We're going to be doing a week by week, and we're also going to be doing all of that using the charms, the numbers, letter tiles, and even looking into one specific oracle message for you for the theme of your next 2 weeks. So let's go ahead and get started, and do feel free to get yourself settled here. We're actually going to get started here first with your numbers and letters. So let me just get you adjusted. And we're going to see first what letters that you have coming in. So for letters, these are going to be giving us some information on the next 2 weeks for you to see, any initials, any people that might be coming up, any names or places, street signs, anything that you're looking for, that kind of signal or sign from spirit. But we're also going to see if any oracle messages come through here too. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. Get yourself settled and cozy, and let's get right into it here. Group 1. Alright, so right off the bat, the two that made me want to drop these out right off the bat were Z and A, so those felt more significant than anything else, but let's see what else you have. So we have Z, A, U, L, E, R, N, and K, and then the letters that weren't revealed here, we have E, and another L. So we have some doubles in and triples here with E's and L's. I'm seeing like Ken, and I'm probably thinking of that because like that new Barbie movie that's coming out, but maybe something around the idea of like superficial kind of feelings might be coming through for some of you. Here, let me go ahead and move your stone out of the way. We also have rue, and rue represents like, I'll rue the day when, or something like that. So whenever I see this, it makes me think that like you might regret something that you say this week, or you might feel like guilty about something. So that might be something to just be aware of going into the week. Maybe thinking before you speak, or thinking about your actions a little bit more carefully, especially with things that you know are going to have maybe deeper consequences, or kind of come back to bite you. So these are things to just keep in mind, there might be something that you're gonna maybe not fully regret, but like in the moment, when you say something and immediately you're like, you want to take it back. So maybe just giving yourself a little bit of time to take some breaths, or to slow down and to really consider your words and your actions a little bit more carefully this next 2 weeks. I also got like laurel came through for me, which makes me think of like a wreath, or what do you wear, like laurel that you would wear in like Roman times. It's basically what I'm trying to get to here is that it makes me think of victory, or like the 6 of Wands, and the idea of like victory or trying to win something. So that also might have that competitive nature. Maybe that's why things bubbled up, or something was said or done that you didn't necessarily mean to. So those are more of those things that I have coming through for you so far. That superficiality, that rue the day feeling, and the laurel. But do feel free, as always, to see what is coming through for you specifically. But we're going to move on to the numbers here in a moment as well. And so the numbers are very similar to the letters, but with these we're actually looking for like dates or specific things that maybe you're planning, or numbers for like angel numbers or other symbols that might be coming through from spirit. So do feel free to send your energy in. And let's see, group 1. The next 2 weeks. Been feeling like needing to stir things up with my left hand today. But we have 17 showing up right off the bat. Then we have 16 as well. So the 17th, the 16th, the 15th. These might be things that are maybe in the past for you. Maybe depending on when you're watching this. 'Cause some of you might be watching it at the beginning of months. It kind of just depends. But clearly the 15th, 16th, and 17th is going to be more important for you. That, or also as you move into the next month, the 5th, 6th, or the 7th. So see how that resonates, I couldn't come up with the word, and how it shows up for you here today. You might also feel connected to just like the actual red, blue, or the black here. So see what is coming through for you. But we're going to go ahead and look into one of my favorite parts when we do these 2-week ahead readings and see what the main theme is. And I've been playing around with using oracle decks for these ones, but we're going to be looking into one specific card for the next 2 weeks. What is that overarching theme or biggest energy really coming through to the forefront? Something that we really need to pay attention to. And then we're going to look deeper as we go into the next 2 weeks, week by week, in a little energy forecast. So let's see first what that card is. So as always, do feel free to send your energy in, especially when we do one so like specific. But let's see for you the next 2 weeks, group 1 with turquoise here. What do you have coming through for the next 2 weeks, group 1? Okay, so we have the 7 of ink, illumination, accomplishment, realization, and pride. So as it is actually Pride Month, some of you might be going to Pride, or it might actually literally mean pride in that way. But I'm also seeing with like the 7 of ink and illumination, when it comes to what it's talking about here, represents like old manuscripts and like, you know, when you would look at fairy tale pages when you were a kid and like storybooks, and they would have like the beautiful like F to start the letters, and they would have the really beautiful illustrations on the outside borders, and some of them would have like gold foiling and things like that, and it just felt really special and crisp and clean and like a storybook and like something that was old that you could really treasure for a really long time. These are the sorts of feelings that I have coming in when it comes to that feeling of accomplishment, or that feeling of like you finished something. We already had that laurel feeling of like a laurel bush or the laurel leaves, and the idea of like accomplishment through kind of, I almost am getting like this feeling of like braving or like a courageous feeling, like you kind of push through a wall. That's why I'm really getting that realization as well. Like maybe you're going to push through a wall over these next 2 weeks that you've kind of had in your way for a while, and you're going to realize and have like an aha moment, or something just really clicks, that you're going to be able to kind of push through that wall, to push through that superficial feeling, or to push through something that's been in your way of being able to accomplish something, to feel pride in that thing that you've been trying to push through. Basically, I just really feel like you're going to overcome something and feel victorious in something and accomplished and feel pride in yourself. So that's a really exciting way to start off these next 2 weeks, right? Is to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is going to be that feeling like you can take pride, and also like there also is, because of that storybook feeling that keeps coming up for me, and the idea of like an old manuscript or an old storybook or like tales. It feels like it's going to be an accomplishment that you want to tell and really share with other people, right? It feels like something that is worth writing down in a journal for you to read later on, or to tell the kids or something like that. It feels really important and impactful to you in a way that you want to share that information, share your wisdom from the experience, or to just really feel that accomplishment. Truly, that's really what we're getting coming through here. So that's really exciting already off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and move this aside, and we'll start looking into the bigger details here and kind of see what else you have coming in. So let's zoom you out. I still have this over here so you can see it from the side, but we're going to be looking into the next 2 weeks here, week by week. And so when I do this, I'm going to cast the charms and the specific tarot tiles. And the way that I like to use this tarot mat, or this charm mat rather, is this is going to be more on that illumination card. So we're going to look even deeper into that here for that main theme. But when it comes to the next 2 weeks, we're going to be using this part, this little noodle shape, as week 1, and anything that falls in this one will be on week 2, and the moons we'll talk about individually if anything shows up there. So let's begin first with the tarot tiles. So these are just little metal tiles, and I'm going to go ahead and pull some, so do feel free to send your energy into the dark abyss, and let's see what shows itself back. Okay, so all of them have decided to keep themselves a little bit hidden here. So I find that really interesting. We're going to look deeper into those in just a moment, but let's go ahead and get some charms on top as well, and we'll reveal them as we go. So same thing, do feel free to send your energy in, your individualistic point of view, and let's see what comes on through. So group 1. Still feel like there's some more. Like I said, I'm having a thing with my hands today. Okay. All right. Okay, so we definitely got more of that courageous energy that I was feeling earlier with the brave lion of Lion King over here. But let me zoom you in and we'll look a little bit more closely here. So let's start off right in the center. And to be honest, not a lot came up here in the center, but I am going to go ahead and interpret that this one is kind of showing up for all 3 parts. So we're going to go ahead and reveal this one as our center here. So we have here the 5 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles really makes sense, especially if you're at a wall. This might be a financial wall that you're going through, or something around career, your job, your financial situation, or something like that. It can also represent your health too. So either your mental health or physical health. Usually with Pentacles, it has more to do with your physical health, but, you know, take it how it is and how it might be feeling for you. But you might be finding at these next 2 weeks that the block that you're having are either mental blocks, physical blocks, or career blocks, or financial blocks in some way. That those are the things that we're really getting here as the theme that's showing up in all of the weeks. But there is a lot of courage here. We have other things showing up here that seem to be really good helpers, especially when the dolphins show up. But we'll go ahead and focus here on the first week. So let me zoom you out so you can see a little bit. So in the very first week, we have here the 5. I knew this one was going to come up because it kept falling out when I was just mumbling and rumbling through the charms and everything to get ready. This one just kept falling out of the bag. So there we are. We have the 5 of Swords. So we have 2 5s showing up, and 5s are a number of change. You also had the number 5 show up here in only that one specific color of red. I was going to say blue, of red. And because you have so many colors in your illumination card, with red really starting us off and moving through the colors, it does make me feel like, again, like you're going to move through, like with the 15th, 16th, and 17th through this, or by the coming energy of this 5 energy about change. You might have a lot of transformation and breakthroughs happening over this next week, or next 2 weeks rather, especially with this. So we also have 11 showing up here too. 11, or energies like that wish-making energy. But because it's not coming up with multiple, it's really making me think of like really reaching out and asking for help. That's both physically asking for help, like asking your friends, asking partners in your life, because you do have the partnership charm showing up here, or relationship charm with the 2 dolphins here, which do mate for life. So it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, but it definitely could be. But there's something showing up here of like partnership or working together, asking or looking for signs from spirit or through, you know, physical people in your life who you could ask for help from. And I do feel like there's this stubborn energy of like, I got this, I can do it, I don't need your help. You know, it kind of feels like this, again, that pride feeling, but like less than like an accomplishment feeling of pride, and more like an ego kind of pride. You know, when we're feeling down, or we are going through a block, or we're going through a situation that kind of has to put us down a little bit, or make us feel, you know, a little bit under the weather, in whatever that sense might be for you. Asking for help can really be a difficult thing and a thing that makes us feel a bit insecure, or makes us feel like we have to put up like a brave front of like, I've got this, I'm a self-made person, girl boss, or like whatever it might be. Like there's this sort of like mask that you might be putting on in the first week of like having a bit of a struggle of asking for help, and that might be preventing this breakthrough from happening, or preventing you from being able to find the help that you need. So that might be something to consider, and might be a part of that rue feeling of like regret. So do keep that in mind, especially with the Five of Swords. Five of Swords has a lot to do with that feeling of saying something that you didn't really mean. So let's move over to the second week here, where we have 2 to reveal and then 2 charms. So we have here first the 8 of Cups, which is really good to be seeing. And then we also have, oh my goodness, and then we have another cup with the Ace of Cups. So I definitely see a swap happening through from the first week to the second week, where there's a bit of a stubbornness, I got this, self-made kind of feeling. The second week you can see you maybe asking for help some more. You also have the 8 of Cups, which represents kind of walking away from a situation that no longer serves you, or walking away from a habit or an emotional belief about yourself that you might be walking away from, or retreating from, or moving on from. And then it also does represent like that feeling of literally moving to the next step, or moving to something that is better for you, moving on in some way. So we have that showing up, something about moving on and letting something go that no longer really brings light into your life anymore. So we have that coming up in the second week, alongside the clothespin charms. This makes me think of like something you've been putting off. Whenever I think of like, hanging up clothes, it's you hang them up and you come back to them later, but sometimes we forget, or they just hang there forever. We don't fold them, or whatever. So it feels like there's something that's just like hanging on, or kind of lingering. So we do have something kind of showcasing that same lingering feeling from the first week, but we do have the courage and bravery here to kind of open up so that you can move through and have these breakthroughs. So we do have a lot of courage as well, and a bravery that's showing up here too. So that is everything that I'm getting here for your next 2 weeks. For you, group 1, with illumination, pride, realizations, and this bravery, this courage. Maybe, thinking a little bit more before you speak, or you take on any big actions. But that's really what I'm getting here for you. I do hope this was useful to you. If it was, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, do feel free to subscribe. We've just hit over 1,000 subscribers, and I'd love to have you alongside this growing community as well. I put out new videos every single Monday, so you always have something exciting to see and something new to learn about yourself and grow through the tarot. So do feel free to subscribe, and I also am going to be opening back up sometime this week, if not today, all of my different offerings for snail mail readings, for different papers, and for anything else that I might be bringing up. So do feel free to check that all out down below as well. It's a great way to support the space alongside the Kindred tip jar. So with all of that said, I do hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, group 2. If you've decided to choose this piece of Ammonite, then this is the pile for you. Great choice, by the way. I'm loving this new little fossil in my collection. But let's go ahead and get started for you, group 2. On your next 2 weeks, we're going to be going week by week. We're going to be playing with charms, letter tiles, numbers, the whole works. But like I said in the intro, I did just get right back into things. So if I fumble or speak a little bit slowly or fast or whatever it might be, do give me a little bit of grace here, because it's been a little while and I'm kind of just getting back into the paces. But let's go ahead and just get right into it. So we're going to be starting here with your number and letter tiles, and we're going to specifically be starting with the letter tiles. So these are going to be showcasing any people or initials or places, even street signs, whatever it might be that show up and really resonate for you right off the bat if you feel really called to specific letters that we have show up here. But we're also going to be seeing if there are any oracle messages that come through as well intuitively. So let's get started. Do feel free to get cozy and ready to go and send in your energy, and let's see what letters show up for you today here, group 2. Okay, so we have one standing up over here. By the way, I have something in my throat today, so if I sound a little bit funny, that's what it is. But we have the letter N, and then the one we have sitting up over here is U. We also have Q, J, L, D, and R. So it's always nice when you get Q with a U so that you can actually spell things, but unfortunately we have literally nothing else to spell with. So we're really getting a lot of consonants. Whenever I'm looking at these intuitively, I like to see if there's a balance between consonants and vowels. And in this case, you have a lot of consonants, and consonants represent a lot more active speaking, a lot more actions, a lot more action forward thinking, but you don't really have near as much like listening or kind of a fluidity. It's a bit more chunky. So these are just things that I'm getting right off the bat. So you might have things that just feel a little bit more clunky. You might be feeling like you're getting things done, but things pile back on. I'm getting that kind of feeling already. But I also really got run that showed up here. And immediately I thought of like Forrest Gump and like, run, Forrest, run. And like this feeling of like kind of being bullied into it, almost like like I said, like you have like you're running errands and you're trying to get this thing done and get this thing done and get this thing done, and then something just keeps piling on and keeps piling on, almost 10 of Wands energy. So that's something to be aware of, maybe giving yourself a little bit more space these next 2 weeks, or, kind of trying to filter through all of the things that you have on your list and realize what is priority and what is just sort of fluff, and what are things that you don't actually need to be doing or that could be moved to make space for something else, or just breathing room for you for the next 2 weeks. So that's something that I have coming in here. We also have like, done or dune, Q or Quan. I'm not really seeing a ton of other words here that are specifically speaking to me, but do feel free to continue to play around with these and see if anything else shows up for you. But we are going to go ahead and leave it there and look into your numbers. So very similarly, but this time, instead of looking for words, we're actually going to be using these to see any specific dates that are going to be really important for you, or to also use them to seek out any angel numbers or spirit numbers or repeating numbers that might be important to you. So let's go ahead and see over the next 2 weeks for you, group 2. Oh, we've got quite a few of them. All right, so first off, we have 13 and 7, 10, 4, and another 13. Okay, so you can group these based off a color that might be really resonating for you. So we have like the 17th, the 10th, the 7th. The 13th is really popping off quite a lot here, and then 4 showing up here as well. Whenever I see 13 showing up, though, 13 represents and correlates to the Death card, and the Death card in tarot represents an ending or something coming to the end. So because you had that run feeling, that feeling of like, you know, like being literally on a mouse on a wheel, like constantly moving and grooving and just like this constant influx of things coming in. The idea that there's like this ending to it that's showing up here, this like release, feels really nice to see already. But we also have like this feeling of monotony maybe coming in here with 4. I don't know. So do feel free to see if like there's a specific set of numbers that are calling to you more. But mostly that's what I'm really getting here with that 13. But let's go ahead and take a second and now look at your main energy for the next 2 weeks, which is my favorite part when doing these 2 week ahead readings with this new format. I love to see what you get for your main overarching energy over the next 2 weeks, the thing that's coming in the most for you. So let's see what that is for you, group 2. Do feel free to send your energy in. That always does help with a collective reading. So, we got them flying. I feel really called to the top card, so we're going to go ahead and take that one. But just in case these are calling to you, I'll show them real quickly. We have the 6 of ink with calligraphy, fluidity, skill, and patience. And then the protagonist with curiosity, drive, and motivation. But the one that showed up first and foremost, we're going to pay attention to the most. And that is, for you, the 4 of ink with the pen. Manifestation, communication, and clarity. And what I felt really called to already just off the bat is the idea of like when you're using a pen too, right? Like I was saying, like to figure out your priorities, to put things, to organize really is what I'm getting. Is I feel like because you have so many errands, so many things you're running and doing and you know, this way and that way and that way and this way, you can feel pulled in so many different directions and have so many things going on at once that I've talked about this before. They're super helpful, is to do a brain dump list. Literally just write everything that you feel like you need to get done, every task, every feeling, everything you just want out of your brain, and just write it down in a list. Don't try to organize it. Don't try to make it pretty. Don't try to do your best handwriting. Just chicken scratch it onto the page and see what shows up for you. And then you can start to organize your thoughts. So as you can see, there's different bottles showcasing and organizing different thoughts, feelings, emotions, tasks, whatever it might be. And that could be really useful to you. If this isn't if you find that your next 2 weeks isn't really about literal plans or to-dos and are more just how your inner voice is doing and your inner monologue, or maybe your creative voice and you just maybe you're writing a story or something, or working on a project or doing something with your hobby, and that also is making you feel a little bit discombobulated. You could use this for anything really, but the point is there's something about needing to kind of organize, prioritize, or assemble something where it's just been kind of pulled in too many different directions. So that's really what we have showing up here, especially with communication too. It doesn't just have to be written communication. This can also be making sure, and this came up in group 1 as well, so if you really connect to this message, you might check that one out. But the idea of really taking your time before doing any actions, or really taking your time to really curate your words more carefully when communicating with someone, to be more careful about the words that you're using, to think before you speak, essentially. So we have that coming in too, to make yourself more clear in your communication. So let's see how that manifests into your next 2 weeks with the other charms and tiles that we have showing up here. So let me zoom you out so you can see everything. So we're going to be using our typical handmade mat here, where this is going to be looking more deeply into our oracle card with the pen, but we're also going to be looking into this noodle shape for the week 1, and then this noodle shape for week 2, and anything that falls on the outside we'll talk about individually. But let's go ahead and just get right into it with the tarot tiles. So this is the Charmcast Tarot in case you're curious, but I'll have everything like this listed down below. And if you're enjoying the video so far, do be sure to give this video a like. It really does help so much, so thank you. But let's see what you have coming in here. Group 1 or group 2. All right, so let's see group 2. Okay, so we had them flying everywhere. So we don't have a ton showing up in the weeks, but this one felt like it just flew over. But let's see what you have before we even dive into this with the charms as well. So let's go ahead and mix these up too. Okay, so let's zoom in. All right, so we do not have a ton of things showing up here actually in the center other than one. So we'll kind of read on that. But everything really was just kind of flying everywhere, which might represent, again, with your communication, it might not be super clear, or things are at least starting to get clearer as we move through. But we do have this optimistic energy that's showing up for you right off the bat. So we have optimism with the Sagittarius charm. So you might have a Sagittarius that's in your life. You might be a Sagittarius or someone around you with a fire sign in the earth, in their sun, moon, or rising sign. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to your next 2 weeks, that they might be someone that you're communicating with. They might be the person that you're maybe wanting to have more direct communication with, or more conversations that are more optimistic that might show up over the next 2 weeks with them, or they might give you an optimistic point of view as well. But alongside that, you also have here in, if you split this down the middle on week 1, we have a Leo showing up here as well, which is another fire sign. So we do have more of that fire sign energy. It might just be a continuation or letting you know that week 1 is more when that shows up. But we do have Leo showing up here. It was also very close to the new moon, which represents again that they're going to be giving you a more optimistic or a more new forward-thinking ideas. They might be more sort of clear in their speech. We also have generous showing up here too. So there could be some generosity, maybe a gift or an idea that they are kind of gifting to you, an opportunity, something to keep in mind. There's something very optimistic about people who have more fiery energy around you, and to have definitely stick around, see what they have to say. They've got something in mind for you that's going to make me maybe ground you or give you an opportunity that you didn't have previously, because we do have the pumpkin charm, which makes me think of like Cinderella. So again, playing around in fantasy, being kind of stuck in your own head, in your own mind, and in your own world, and they're kind of like bringing you back down and kind of grounding you in a way. We also have we have a few charms showing up here in a different sense. We have more of that fantasy energy with the reindeer also representing sort of like the mythical side of reindeers. So I definitely am getting like this feeling like you're feeling less grounded, you're feeling a bit floaty, kind of in the air in the first week. Again, you might just have a lot of errands and things that you're running for, and it's making you feel a little bit stuck in your own tracks, because we do have the ice charm or snowflake. And then we also have the Four of Pentacles, the Tower charm, and the Nine of Wands, which totally makes sense too with all of those showing up here, that you just might have a heck of a lot happening in the first week. It really feels like the first week, like I said, I felt like there might be someone who's going to be grounding you, but I could also see it in another sense too, that if you're feeling like everything in the world, like when it comes to like your career, your job, your kids, your responsibilities, all of these things that are kind of getting in your way or making you feel, like I said, like you have so much on your mind and it's like just the clarity is not there. You might just also want a little bit of break, and maybe they just are going to help you play around in that fantasy realm as well. So it could go one of two ways. Either they're going to ground you or they're going to let you play around in the clouds a little bit longer. So see how that resonates for you. But by the time we get to the second week, we have some other things showing up here. We have the flexibility charm. We have the number 6 usually representing harmony or things starting to kind of sort themselves out. We also have the smooth over charm, so something smoothing over or becoming, smoothed and burnished in some way. We have the selfless charm. We have the more of that Cinderella with the shoe. That's interesting that you got both of those. So something that was missing or lost, or a missing piece that you didn't have in the first one, where you didn't feel as grounded, you definitely could be feeling more of that in the second week. I really do feel like by the second week, things are going to be more resolved. Things are going to have more of a place, and you're going to feel more, things are going to be clearing up by the second week for sure. We also have like creativity that's showing up here, and a bit of magic and spirituality in the second week. So you might be playing around in that realm or in those sorts of things. Whenever we have the Page of Cups show up, that represents, like a little bit of creative freedom and play. So I do see that as well, that you're feeling maybe a little bit more, like you're a little bit more flexible with your plans, that you're able to kind of play around with your spiritual side, with your creative side, or to be able to smooth things over enough to give yourself a little bit of space to kind of put yourself less on the back burner, honestly. So that's really everything that I'm getting here for your 2 weeks, but do feel free to look further and see if there's anything else showing up for you here. I'll go ahead and pick this up again for you as well. But mostly what I'm just getting here is you're going to have quite a jumbled up week. Things are going to clear up by the second week, and that you're going to have maybe someone who is a fire sign that's really going to help clear things up, or ground you, or allow you to kind of work through those clouds, and that feeling of clearing things back up. So that's everything that I have here for you, group 2. I don't know why I want to say 1 today. Group 2. I do hope this was useful to you. If it was, do be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below. Always love to hear your guys' thoughts and chat with you guys down there, especially since from my point of view, it's been a while since I've been here with you all. If you would like to, do be sure as well to subscribe, as I put out new videos every single Monday. We just hit over 1,000 subscribers, which is very exciting for me. A really big celebration that we can all celebrate here together. But if you would like to join in on the channel, do be sure to continue on by subscribing. And if you'd like to check out all of the different offerings that I have, those are actually opening back up sometime this week, if not today. So do be sure to check those out down below for snail mail readings and for spell and ritual papers and other things, all of which will be listed down below through my Linktree and Instagram. You can also check out my Kindred tip jar as well. That's a great way to support this space, as everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel. So thank you all for being here with me, and I'm wishing you the best for your next 2 weeks. Do be sure to check out those brain dumps. They are super useful and super easy to do, and can get really overlooked. So I hope you do check that out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose this piece of Rutilated quartz, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to set it here so you can see it during your reading here today, as we are going to be looking into the next 2 weeks for you using charms, letter tiles, numbers, all that fun stuff. And we're also going to be using the charm mat here to look into your next 2 weeks individually. I feel like after doing the first 2 piles, I'm already starting to get back into the groove. As I mentioned in the intro, it's been a little bit of some time, so let's just get right into it. We're going to be looking into first your numbers and letter tiles. So these are going to be great to see any initials or people, any street signs, or other like important information that needs to come through for you for the next 2 weeks. Do feel free to play around with these, see what comes through, write them down yourself and see what you could come up with, and use your own intuition. I always invite you guys in, but to go ahead and get started, do feel free to get yourself cozy and send your energy in through time and space, and let's see what letters are going to reveal themselves to you these next 2 weeks. So right off the bat, we have I, A, S, and then we also have here O, G, Z, and E. Okay, so like I said, do feel free to see what is coming through for you. We have gas. So this could be like physically, like Just making sure, get you some Pepto if you need it. But it's also making me think of like a car, like putting gas or diesel in your car or your vehicle, and the idea of like, having gas. Also, it's making me think like, of like making sure you have the resources that like you're putting in enough nutrients into your body to have like the fuel that you need for the day. So there's a lot to do with like fuel, whether that's like physically making sure that you put gas in the car. This could just be like a literal reminder from spirit being like, don't forget to put gas in your car, or don't forget to check something with your car this week. There might be something going on with your vehicle, so this is something to just like maybe check before you leave. And then also like a physical oracle message of more so like making sure you have the gas, you have the resources, you have the you're getting the proper amount of sleep, or you're really looking after yourself and your body as if it were a vehicle to get you through life, right? It really is our vehicle to do the things that we want to do. So really making sure to nourish yourself could be really useful to you in whatever way that means for you this next 2 weeks. I have something in my throat today, so do feel free to ignore any weird sounds that I make. But that's really the only word that I'm really getting here for you. Let me just take one more second. I also am seeing like size here. So I can also see like size in some way. So maybe like that has something to do with that same sort of idea. But there's just something about just kind of being more gentle with yourself over this next 2 weeks, and being a little bit more caring to look after yourself, and whatever that means for you, and whatever state you are currently in. There's just something showing up there. So take that how it resonates, but we're going to go ahead and look into your numbers here in a very similar way. These are actually going to be showcasing more of like dates that are significant to you over the next 2 weeks. You can also see them as angel numbers, spiritual numbers, repeating numbers, however you wish. But let's go ahead and see what those are for you today. Group 3. Okay, so speaking of 3, we have 3 numbers here. We have a red 6, a 9, I guess this is a red 9, a 6, and an 8. We have both 9 and 8 showing up here in the red category, so there could be something with 9 and 8, 9, 8, 6. The beginnings of a month with 6, 8, 9 as well. But that's really what I'm getting here. There's not a ton showing up here. 9 and 8 being maybe more significant in the idea of like something close to finishing something up, right? Because it's close to 10 being a number of completion, 9 meaning you're almost there, 8 also almost there. So there's something showing up there as well of like you're trying to complete something or finish something, to wrap something up over these next 2 weeks. But let's go ahead and look a little bit further. We're actually going to pull one of my favorite cards to do for these 2-week readings to see your overarching message over the next 2 weeks, the main theme, the big punchline. We're going to see what's coming in for you over the next 2 weeks for that. So this is the main theme, the overarching energy. So it really does help for you to send your energy in, especially in collective readings like this. So do feel free to do that. And let's see. Group 3, what do you got going on, group 3? What is that main energy coming through for you, group 3? Okay, so we have the stars with luck, hope, and wishes. I really love this stars card. There's so much to interpret here in the idea of like the spinning motion of like the thread in the middle, almost like literally taking threads from like wisdom from the stars. So I'm really getting this feeling like of like passed down knowledge and wisdom, right, from the stars, navigation even, if you think of the stars as like a navigational tool. Constellations also representing like past legends and knowledge and wisdom and stories, and storytelling being a powerful passed down kind of feeling of or passed down tool to share knowledge and to share information. So I'm really getting a lot to do with that, more so than the luck, hope, and wishes side of it. But obviously, we'll see if that comes up even further as we move forward. But mostly what I'm getting here is this feeling of like using past wisdom, asking for advice or looking up advice, asking spirit or asking, someone who feels more mature in the thing or has more experience in the thing that you're trying to move through, possibly something you're trying to finish up, in that they might be, being able to share knowledge and to share information. There's just something about passed down information or to gain information and wisdom over the next 2 weeks for you as being really important for you over the next 2 weeks. It kind of feels separate from everything else we've gotten here so far. So I really want to see the rest of your reading here. So for that, we're going to zoom you out and we're going to look at the charm mat that I have here. And what I like to do for these readings is we're going to be using the charms, and we're also going to be using some tarot tiles to look into your next 2 weeks individually. So we're going to look into, first off, more on that stars message here with the main energy over the next 2 weeks. But then we're going to split this in half, and anything that falls in this noodle shape is for week 1, and anything that falls in this noodle shape is week 2. All of the outside we'll talk about individually if anything shows up there. So to start us off, let's look into the Charmed Tarot tiles. So for these, do feel free, as always, send your energy into the dark abyss, and let's see what comes right back. Okay, so this has been a theme so far for both of the piles. We haven't had anything show up in the center, so we're going to see if we get any charms here first before we look into all of the details. So do, as always, feel free to send your energy through time and space, and let's mix these up. Okay, so your charms were being quite stubborn that they didn't really want to show up. So we're going to drop these as well. But let's see what they wanted to show us. So like I said, we had nothing show up here in the center. So really the biggest energy is more to do again with that wisdom. Maybe because there's nothing showing up here, you might have kind of a lack of wisdom coming through. Maybe something that feels snipped or lost to time, to cultural appropriation, to generational loss of some sort. There could be a lot of different reasons for that, or just a loss in like spiritual connection right now, crossed wires, something like that. So that might be something to also keep in mind, and the idea that I said earlier that it felt separate. So it almost feels like someone pulled the cord or cut the cord of knowledge in some way. So there might be something showing up there as well of like reclaiming knowledge or, finding those lost or loose threads. So that might be something that you might be exploring over these next 2 weeks. Just in general, I don't think that is going to resonate for everyone. So for some of you, again, it's just more to do with that like hope, wishes, and luck kind of feeling. But let's see what else we have showing up here. So we're going to go ahead and obviously skip the center and just move right over here to the first week. So right off the bat, we had this original charm show up. Whenever I see this, it makes me think of like having your own original take or wanting to go in an individualistic point of view or way on something, right? Really wanting to go your own way, to do your own thing, to have your own original thoughts. And there's something that's maybe stopping you there because we do have the kind of procrastination or hesitation is even like a better word for it, charm, right? So whenever we think of birds, they're flying, they're free, they're moving, they're really, soaring. And in this case, this bird is just sort of ready to fly and yet still not doing it. They're hesitating on the branch. They're trying to get themselves motivated and to move, and yet something's stopping them. So I want to see what else we have showing up here. We have the Chariot. So again, that feeling of like you have everything in order. You have the motivation. It literally feels like I'm getting this feeling of like those like toys that you would play with when you were a kid, that like it was like a car or something, and you'd like pull it back and pull it back and pull it back, and you'd really build it up, and then you'd let it go and it would like zoom, like one of those little like cars. I don't know what you call them, but it just really feels like a buildup of energy of some sort, and a release needed. And so I really do feel like there's like this build up, this anticipation, some things that you're building up and really anticipating over the next 2 weeks that you're really ready to get started on and move forward on. And yet either you're hesitating, or it could be again like an anticipation, like you have to wait for it to come. Then we also have here the over here in the moons, just before the new moon. So you can look up on a moon app or on Google or something to see what moon phase you are currently in when you're watching this. But just before the new moon, you're getting a bit of energies to showcase the Five of Wands, which represents a bit of a battle. The Five of Wands also can represent like it almost feels like an inner battle for you. Like there's something showing up here that's showcasing like this inner battle or an inner turmoil, or things feeling kind of disorganized. It really reminds me of group 2. So if you're not totally feeling this pile, definitely feel free to check out group 2. But that's happening around and just before the new moon, which the new moon is really great at like cleansing those sorts of things. So just something to keep in mind. But by the time we get to week 2, we have some other things showing up here. We have the cloudy, actually this isn't the cloudy weather charm. We have the pearl charm. The pearl actually represents kind of smoothing things out, but it also can represent, again, like this generational feeling, right? Like old pearls that have been passed down. I keep getting this feeling of passed down knowledge that has been lost. And because you also have the ornament here, and the ornament representing, again, like past traditions or things like that, there's definitely something there. We have the letter T showing up here alongside both the Page of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. Ooh, this is really interesting. Pentacles representing physical knowledge and or physical, in this case it feels like knowledge, or physical skills, or passed down knowledge that has been lost through generations or something like that. And a reclaiming or regaining of that, I really do see showing up in the second week, something clearing up there, because you do have both the locked heart, right, which represents kind of a locked amount of something being locked up, and then you have the key. So it's always wonderful when you get these two together. So I definitely think it definitely feels like, okay, the first week feels like you have something building up, and then by the second week you're getting answers. Whether that's that generational gap kind of feeling, or like a spiritual gap, or something of a gap of information or knowledge, that might be the thing. It could also just be, again, like you've been anticipating something, and that anticipation has been building up, and you finally get to release that in the second week. But that's really what I'm getting here. Outside of that, though, we do have more of that spiritual information happening after the new moon, on your way to the first quarter moon, which is all about action and forward movement again. And what is moving forward is a lot to do with spirituality, because we have both the moon and we have the universe charm. It really looks like the cosmos, the universe, that kind of thing. Sort of a philosopher's sort of idea of thinking. So I definitely see you seeking answers in the second week. I see you really building things up in the first week, and I see things resolving as we move through the moon phases, when it comes to spirituality, or to finding answers that feel really big, and finding a bit of peace to that, or feeling more active in your spiritual practice, even if you are spiritual, by the first quarter moon. So wow, you guys have a lot happening over these next 2 weeks. There's a lot we could dive into individually here, and I do hope this gave you a little bit of a slice of it for your next 2 weeks to help you through them. If you found this useful, do be sure to as I zoom this out, to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below how it resonated for you. I love to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'm excited to be able to connect with you guys even deeper now that I'm back. So if you guys have video ideas or other things you'd like to see from me, even educational videos, as I've been having a lot of fun diving into those, do be sure to let me know your suggestions and thoughts down below. And we've just reached over 1,000 subscribers, which is really exciting. I want to do something to celebrate, but I haven't yet had the time, as it happened while I was gone. So do feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and join our growing community. But also, if you are interested in any of the other ways to support this space, do be sure to check out the Kindred tip jar down below. Everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel, and you're also welcome to check out my opening of my shop and of my offerings again. So if you're interested in those, all of the information for snail mail readings and for any spell and ritual paper for spiritual practices, all of which will be down below. You can see all of that information there. But yeah, overall, that's everything that I have showing up here for you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.